I'm Tyler Carpenter. I'm a comic book writer and artist, and I'm here with the lovely Miss Rachel Everett. And we're going to be talking about 13 Light Years Away. It's her book, and we're going to be talking about, her art career and, most importantly, her Comic-Con experience this year. What got you started to draw?
I've been drawing ever since I could hold a pencil. I've always wanted to be an artist. So.
Always?
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of art do you specifically, because right now you're doing a lot of illustration, comic book work. Is that always what you were going for?
I always knew I wanted to do art. I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do with it. I always have been a storyteller as well in conjunction with my art. Mm-hmm. And so I have videos of myself as a kid when I was just filming myself doing slideshow picture slideshows and telling a story. So I always wanted to tell stories with it. And I actually started going to school in animation, mm-hmm. But UVU's illustration department doesn't offer the kind of artistic focus that I wanted it to. Uh-huh. They're working towards that, but it's still not there. So I was and I also want to be in charge of my stories.
Yeah.
And so I was introduced sometime around the same time I started going to college to Jake Wyatt and his comic Necropolis.
Okay.
And I had never really had much of an interest in comics before. I kind of wanted to do graphic novels a little bit. I played around with the idea, and all through high school I was coming up with 13 Light Years Away. But I wasn't sure if I wanted it to be a graphic novel or an animated series.
Gotcha.
And so
it could be both.
Yeah, I want it to be both.
It could be a video game. I'll get to that later.
Okay.
But yeah.
but yeah. So Jake Wyatt's normally when I thought of comics, I thought of superheroes, and I wasn't sure if that was really my niche, and so because I've never really cared very much about superheroes, but then. Jake Wyatt's Necropolis is this kind of poetic, still kind of action-packed, but it's about this girl who fights these demon monster things, but it's a really beautiful comic. And I was like, wow, comics can be pretty. That's a thing you can do. And so They don't
have to have people punching?
Yeah, exactly. They don't have to be full of action. And I was like, that's cool. I can be poetic with comics. And so that kind of drew me more into it. And then as I was expressing my frustrations with the animation department to my professors, they're like, dude, you need to go into illustration. I was like, okay, cool. So I wound up switching my major, and ever since then I've been totally focused on comics. I want to do animation still. I have my foot in the door there.
Yeah.
But comics has been my main focus.
All right, so let's talk about 13 Light Years Away. Okay, I got this last year. Look at her signature; it's smudged. You can't even see it, so she's gonna.
I have to recite it for you.
So let's talk. Okay, what was your inspiration for 13 Light Years Away?
It's been a really long kind of combination of a lot of things. 13 Light Years Away's aesthetic is a combination of everything that I love. So it's got Star Wars influence, it's got Hayao Miyazaki influence, it's got 80s influence. It's just kind of a mesh altogether, and it's got African and Native American tribal influence in it.
It does.
Yeah, lots of stuff. It also has a lot of my religious beliefs influenced in there, and so the idea actually came from I was playing around with trying to come up with a short story. I wanted to do an animated short. I wanted it to be a stop motion animation, and I was coming up with this idea about this character that was a robot, was living in a robotic community where everybody was a robot and he was the only human. And he wanted to dress as a robot to kind of blend in. And I don't know what led from there to the next spot, but it wound up as this random post-apocalyptic these kids that raced with these little animals, and then there was this little robot and this hermit kid that just didn't want to socialize, and so he just lived vicariously through this little robot and met this little girl, and they were just it was totally just friends, and it was, I don't know, it just kind of was built from there. I've been working on it for 4 years.
So tell us about the characters then, because they're very. All right, for This comic, guys, is big. It's big. That's why it's taking her forever to do, because it's so big. But let's talk about the characters first before we talk about Lithia, right? It's Lithia.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the characters first. Let's talk about the two characters. You have Felix and Shrift.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so tell us about Felix.
So Felix, I grew up with a lot of kids that have like dealt with depression and with like other anxiety issues and things like that. So Felix is like this kind of this tormented soul. I mean, he has he has PTSD because of this huge outbreak of the plague that killed everyone. And watched his family die before his eyes, and like all sorts of crazy stuff. And then he's alone, isolated completely on this planet. And Felix hears from Shrift.
Mm-hmm.
And Shrift, in contrast to Felix, is like this totally outgoing, ambitious person.
What I love about this comic is the world. You, even though you're not working on the story right now, I mean you are, but it's
I am.
I know, but it's taking too long.
I know. Sorry.
What you have been doing has been building the world. Because I follow her Snapchats. I mean, you have the times, you have the languages, the alphabet, you have like the religion, you have the towns. I mean, the concept work that you've done. Like, I've been playing Skyrim lately because I have no life. And as I'm like playing Skyrim, the best part of that game is you get to travel these like new different places. And every time you're like put up a new concept art, I'm just like, oh man, that looks so dope. We got to explore this place. That's why I was like, we need a video game of 13 Light Years Away. Where
dude, I've actually played around with that idea.
You start off when you like the first like level getting out of the plague, and then you end up in this place, and they're like, she's like, ah, and she runs off, and you got to follow her, and it's so cool. Yeah, this is so. What I really like is the concept art. How do you make that? How do you world build? Because this is like a fantasy sci-fi.
Yeah.
You have to world build this. You have to create a world that also has a story and a history. How do you do that?
It's really an interesting process because I feel like the majority of it just kind of, it's a discovery process more so than a creation process. Okay. I found myself a lot like along the way just kind of like literally just coming up with ideas like they just happen. Mm-hmm. And so that's usually, it's like just pure inspiration. Mm-hmm. You know? I also spend a lot of time reading like ancient history books and like learning about other cultures and things. And
well, other cultures are way cooler than our cultures.
Yeah,
so like you can like get way better.
So I think like being able to find a balance between what to show them and what to hold back, and holding back information can help people like be more invested and want to invest more time and find out a lot about it more. So, yeah.
That's world building, yeah. That's like, but you're doing a really good job with that, because I'm like totally like I'm gonna explore that place. What's the shot of the lady?
That's Carrie. With the orange dress.
I don't know, and she's like overlooking. Yeah. And I was just like, wow, she's overlooking so many stuff. What's going on in that? What's going on in that stuff? What's she looking at? Why is her room so empty? This place is beautiful. Where's her servants? Like, yeah, I'm waiting for that. I'm expecting.
I'm excited, and I plan to do like several side stories that'll go into depth a little bit more about like the history, because I have a lot of really cool stories that have developed that wouldn't really that would derail the story of 13 Light Years Away. So I'll have a lot of like side stories and things like that.
Comic-Con.
Yeah.
That is my goal for next year, is Comic-Con, because I'll have like, I should have like a bunch of books by then to sell and stuff. But I've like researched it, and everyone's just like, these are the horrors of Comic-Con. I'm like, why are people doing this then? This is your second.
Yeah, it's my second year. My first year I had half of a booth. I was just testing.
You were very.
I was tiny.
You were like, I was like, you're like, do you want a button? And you were like this. I was like, I'm good. You're like, okay.
Yeah, and this little 3-foot section of space. Mm-hmm. But this year I had a whole table, and it was a totally different setup than last year. It was totally geared to look like Lithia.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Snapchat.
Yeah.
Snapchat, guys.
So like, I just wouldn't go into it. Both times I went into it not expecting to get profit. And I wasn't going to make money either. I was going to get my comic out there and to
That's the
get
experience.
my name out there. Yeah, and you get a lot of networking experience because you become friends with all the other people that are on the floor, and like you get to like network and do art trades afterwards and go to lunch with that, like and things like that. So it's a lot more. I go mostly for the social aspects, like not only getting to know other artists but getting to know my fans.
Yeah.
Like, I'll have people that will come up to me and be like, "Oh my gosh, I know everything about 13 Years Away. I've been following you for like 4 years," and like. That's awesome.
That wasn't me
Like-
last year. I was like, I know you! I saw your comic and I'm gonna buy it right now!
Yeah.
Wait, I heard that you're giving out free with Prince this year.
I was giving it away free with every purchase.
It's okay, it's worth buying. It's worth buying. It's worth buying.
I sure hope it's worth buying.
It's totally worth
I
buying.
spent
But that's a good
slave-
way to, because a lot of people are like, I gotta put a price on everything. And Comic-Con's really about the exposure.
Things like that, just like starting a conversation. It is exhausting. Sitting there for 3 days straight talking really loud, because it's
You're trying to get known.
yeah,
And
exactly.
you're trying to make an impact on someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Quickly.
It's exhausting. Yeah.
Quickly.
Yeah. It's exhausting, and so but it's totally. I think it's worth it.
Mhm. Thank you
You're
for telling us
welcome.
about 13 Light Years Away. Email Rachel. I will put a link on the bottom where you can email her, like her page, learn about With the Eye, learn about With the I love that.
She's